Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy, the show that talks 100% LA Galaxy soccer. We're glad you could join us. Now it's time to sit back and relax as your hosts navigate through the twisting, turning, but never boring world of the five-time MLS Cup champion, LA Galaxy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com, coming to you live from COG Studios on Thursday, October 17th, ahead of the LA Galaxy's very special playoff matchup against Minnesota United in the first round of the 2019 MLS Cup playoffs. That's right, it's a playoff edition show, and we're glad to have you back after no show on Monday. A lot to get to as we prepare you for this game. In fact, it's almost mostly about this game through this next 45 minutes to an hour, however long it ends up going. But we've got a bunch to talk to you about, obviously, injury updates. We're going to give you some projected lineups. We're going to talk about the effects of some of the injuries and some of the guys coming back and what that could possibly mean as well. And just in case you wanted to freak out just a little bit, Sunday's game could be Zlatan Ibrahimovic's last game in an LA Galaxy uniform as well. So we're going to talk about that and do a whole bunch more. All right, to help me do it, he's back in the studio after a brief hiatus, filling out that chair once again very nicely. Very nicely. He's back. It's Eric, the Portuguese Hammer Vieira. Eric, how's it going, buddy?
Thanks for introducing me by slamming me.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I wanted you to feel at home.
I was going to say, what is it? Distance makes the heart grow fonder. So yeah,
I guess.
I've been gone for too long. You have the schoolboy thing where you make fun of the person you like. I know how it is.
You know how it is?
Yeah,
That's how it goes
I
down.
can relate. So
right.
yeah, I'll take that as a compliment.
Sure.
Happy to be back.
Yes, good. Glad to have you back. LA Galaxy getting ready for a playoff game coming up on Sunday. Your nerves? How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty good. We were sharing this on the text thread off the air here. It just seems to me, Minnesota United, I don't know what it is. There are certain teams that just don't strike fear into your heart. Mm-hmm. And to me, I feel pretty calm, cool, and collected heading into this game, even though when you look at Minnesota's home record and flashes during the season where they've been playing extremely well, they don't scare me, and I say that talking about an LA Galaxy team who lost to some bottom dwellers in Houston and Colorado towards the end of the season. So to say I don't feel nervous, I know that's kind of counterintuitive, right. But at the same time, I don't feel nervous. I feel like the Galaxy going away in some regard is playing with house money because again, they are the underdog in this scenario because they're the away team. So I just don't feel nervous. I feel like that they have the talent to get the job done. And I feel like they will.
Maybe.
All right, cut the show.
Yeah, thank you.
All right,
everybody have a good night. That was it. No, I mean, listen, I think there has to be some sort of confidence. Galaxy have never lost to Minnesota United. But, I mean, again, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things in this. There's a lot of things that I think if you're a Galaxy fan, you can be worried about. I texted you. I said, I understand people who have complete confidence in this team. I understand the people who are saying they're going to beat Minnesota. Yeah, I understand people like you.
It's a done deal.
I also understand the people... by the way, perfectly reasonable. I also understand the people who are like, what are you guys talking about? This team has been nothing but inconsistent. Yeah. They haven't done, anything really to show that they deserve to be in an MLS Cup contender in the second half of the season. The reason that they're at where they're right now is because of the start of the beginning of the season and, going, 7-1-2 or something
7-1-1 for the first 9 games. And then the last 9 games, I believe they were 3-6 and 3 or something like that. Yeah. So again,
too many draws, but yes.
Too many draws. Well, two draws. They only had 3 draws all season. So again, started the season strong, and one of my favorite sayings: "Don't peak too soon."
Don't peak too soon.
It's almost like their best part of the season was early on. They maybe peaked too soon, but we'll see. But they have a lot of peaking left to do.
I was going to say, if you're seeing them on a trough, right? If you're going, up and down in the highs and lows right now. You could say they're kind of in a low, and if that's true, the only way they can really go is actually they could go down a little bit more.
Letting in 4 goals to Houston and
4 goals to Vancouver.
I guess it can't get much worse, can it?
Yes.
Letting 4 goals in a playoff game?
Yes, it can. I was going to say, it can get a lot worse.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, but still.
That's a new drinking game.
I was going to say, drink. If you had but still in the first 6 minutes here.
That, and would you like to know what 538 says?
No, that doesn't count, because it wasn't a natural progression into that.
All right, good. All right. I just want to. Everybody's already asking in the chat room. Are you ready for a dramatic reading tonight?
Yeah, I came ready.
Wow, that's
Of course.
You didn't sound that confident right there.
Again, like I said, it's Minnesota.
You sound like the LA Galaxy.
I've got
You're
it
like,
down.
whatever, we got this.
No, I
it's
thought it
Minnesota.
through. Yeah,
Okay.
I brought a little hype, but
Okay.
I came ready to rock.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right, let's get you to the training today. A bunch of reporters were there. Kevin Baxter, the Panda, was there. Larry Morgan, Esquire. Not really an Esquire, but I like to call him
I was
Esquire.
going to say, that's a great...
Larry S. Morgan,
I had no
Esquire.
idea he had his law degree.
No, he doesn't. But you know what? He deserves one. He's the law of Larry Morgan.
Larry Morgan is the law. I feel like that'd be a good show. I mean, like CBS after Blue Bloods.
I feel like if you're gonna make Larry a lawyer, he would be like, on a billboard somewhere. Larry S. Morgan, I will fight for you. But anyway, so Larry Morgan was out of training today. I saw Delmy was out of training today. I mean, everybody was. I think
it was
out
a who's
of training.
who of LA Galaxy media.
Everybody's getting ready. Again, the Galaxy taking off for Minnesota on Saturday. They will charter there and charter back. So still plenty of time for the Galaxy. They'll train on Friday. My guess is they'll have a walkthrough on Saturday morning as well, but they may not because they may leave at like 9:30 or 10:30 in the morning.
It's charter, so
you leave when you want.
You leave whenever you
will wait.
Darn
for me?
well, please.
As long as the weather's good, it's fine. And so
That's
far,
true.
it seems like them getting in won't be a problem. Maybe getting out might be something of an issue, but probably not either. So anyway, there was lots of updates, and it was mostly focused on the injury updates. Romain Alessandrini has been in full training with the club. He's trained all week, and GBS says he's expected to make the trip to Minnesota. GBS also says that he could be available for up to 30 minutes, which is a huge sort of, hey, by the way, here's 30 minutes.
And it depends. The concerning part to me is it doesn't seem like there's game scenario that was brought into play. He could be up to 30 minutes, but it's completely based on how the game is going. I mean, if they're are they winning? Is he a victory cigar? Are they down?
Just wait.
Okay.
Just wait.
Are we going to talk about that?
I want to talk about it,
Okay.
but just wait. I want to get through the injuries
But
first.
I will say this, that if you're not already following at Galaxy Profile,
Yes.
again, Romain Alessandrini has been dropping Easter eggs.
Yes, he has.
For about the last week and a half, and you've seen that he's been eyeing this game and dropping little hints with his Instagram stories. So it wasn't really surprising news today. I kind of expected that we were going to see him in the sheet against Minnesota.
Yeah, listen, I'll tell you right now, he's going to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Whether he sees any time, we can talk about and sort of see how that will play out. But that was one of the injury updates. That was a good injury update. There's another good injury update. I don't want to get there yet.
With the sweet comes the sour.
There is. A little sour here. Joe Corona. Corona has not been training. We've been watching him on at Galaxy Profile.
I was going to say, whenever you're in a boot, I mean, I know we were told it's a sprain, but at the same time, whenever you're in a boot, that's not a good thing.
I'm guessing he got his toenail smashed off or something like that. I mean,
there was blood.
There was blood. There will be blood. So Joe Corona has not been training. He might train on Friday, so we're recording on Thursday. Listen, there's probably not going to be a whole bunch of reporters out there on Friday. I don't expect it. There's not media availability really. You can go out and you can watch training. You could talk to a couple guys if you wanted to, but mostly everybody got their stuff done today. So he might train on Friday. If he does train, GBS says that they'll evaluate him for a trip to Minnesota. But in my mind right now, best case scenario for Joe Corona is that he travels and is available off the bench. So he's not a starter. Yeah, this is not happening.
If it's a one-day training and then you're expecting him to get serious minutes, he's had this, 2 weeks off now?
Yeah.
Without getting any type of training in. I mean, obviously they do training, that's maybe not putting stress on the toe, but at the same time, without running on the field, it seems like it'd be a stretch to start him. So maybe you see him in the 18, but I think even that's doubtful.
That seems doubtful. I think GBS says that's doubtful as well. So now here's the other bit of good news, which maybe nobody paid attention to. In fact, you probably didn't because nobody asked and I
was going
asked.
to say, I've been waiting for this news.
This is good. Perry Kitchen has been training with the club. We told you that last week. We told you that he could possibly be working towards that. I was told today by the LA Galaxy that he is expected to travel with the team to Minnesota. That doesn't mean that he's in the 18. It doesn't mean that he's starting. It doesn't mean that he's just expected to travel. When they charter these flights in a playoff mode, they tend to take everybody. Everybody flies on the plane. It doesn't matter.
And when you see, this happens quite a bit with teams, maybe not super often, but at the same time, sometimes in training or in warm-ups, players do go down. So if you, in this scenario, if you had a player who you wanted to put in the 18, but they had an issue, in the warm-ups or something happened, you do need those backup players there just in case. And so, Perry Kitchen seems like the pelvis is healed, the groin is healed, depending on who your translator is. So I think given if Corona is out, this does give us a little bit more depth in the midfield, in that bruiser position, that's that defensive midfield. So I take it as a positive if he's available.
If he's available, and that's sort of up in the air, but if he's on the plane, that's at least a sign. I mean, Joe Corona could end up going on the plane. It doesn't mean that he's going to be in the 18, and it doesn't mean that he's going to dress. Again, it's one of those.
Yeah, and I heard he's good in the locker room, so he's a guy you want around, even if he's not playing.
Who's that? Joe Corona?
Joe Corona.
Joe Corona?
He's a good guy.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Everybody likes Joe. And Kevin Kitchen.
Well, again, Perry Kitchen. We'll put
Poor
some.
Perry.
We're going to put some respect on his name. It's playoff time. We got to support our guys.
The guy has a unique name, named after a platypus, I assume. He has a unique, and now everybody wants to call him Kevin, which is,
But it is kind of funny. I mean, it threw me for a loop when I learned that information.
So anyway, those are your updates. Romain Alessandrini, Joe Corona, Perry Kitchen. It seems like all the international players that came back, Rolf Felcher playing for Venezuela, who got some time, Uriel Antuna, who ended up scoring against Panama, I think, in Mexico's 3-1 win. Mm-hmm. Sebastian Lletget didn't play. I don't think he played in either game.
I was going to say, just the fact that he was a part of that debacle, I don't know if that's a good thing.
It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing.
Let's hopefully hope he came away with that unscathed, which obviously he didn't play, but
mentally,
mentally, hopefully he's not coming back with a losing mentality.
So Romain Alessandrini, Uriel Antuna, Rolf Felcher, and People Gonzalez. People got some time as well, I think, played a little bit for Costa Rica. So seeing all that, everybody seems to have returned healthy. There doesn't seem to be any issues. Nobody was concerned there. So as far as international breaks have gone, at least physically, it seems fine. Mentally, who knows exactly. I think for Antuna, by the way, who is slowly, towards the end of this season, becoming the leader out there in terms of creating chances for Zlatan and doing stuff. It's an important
the hustle
boost for him.
The hustle is there, and again, when he comes back from these breaks, for some reason he can't make it happen in the same fashion in the LA Galaxy jersey, but at the same time he's in the mix. And so, you have to shoot the shot wide. You have to be in position to shoot it wide. So that says something that he's there.
Your buddy Thomas is in the chat room.
Well, of course.
He's already pulling for Carrasco to be in the thing. So I'm glad, because
I'll take Perry Kitchen's groin. Again, I know we weren't supposed to speak ill of players. We're supposed to support our guys.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to start Servando Carrasco in a playoff game away, in harsh weather conditions, I don't know. I love you, Thomas, but come on.
I've been meaning to, because I've been seeing this argument now for 3 or 4 days. This whole week we've been seeing this Carrasco argument, and so I actually went and, because I'm that person, I went and crunched the numbers on Carrasco and looked at it. And Servando Carrasco has 3 starts out of 16 games this year. 3 starts out of 16 games. 3 starts, he's 2 losses and 1 win.
That's not good.
Whenever he comes in as a substitute, he has a better record, but his average number of minutes in those 13 other games that he played is 10. 10 minutes.
Average. Oh, wow.
10 minutes is the average. So and he has 6 games where it's under 10 minutes.
So he's the victory cigar. So
he is.
He's the one who you bring in when you're winning.
That's it.
Right.
That was it. I just wanted to. That's it. I'm glad we got that out of the way. So that's always fun. Fun with stats. But anyway, so that's where we go. Romain Alessandrini, Joe Corona, Perry Kitchen. Perry Kitchen would be a nice cherry to get back in this particular case, because if you are winning, if you do need to put somebody in and you need that defensive sort of help, which Kitchen has been, if he's healthy, you put him in. If you pull Sebastian Lletget out and you put Perry Kitchen in, you do that, all of a sudden that defensive midfield becomes a lot more stout, and it allows Jonathan Dos Santos to be a little bit more forward but still play his defensive side. It makes a bunch of sense to me.
I've heard that argument as well about when you bring someone else in, it allows Jonathan to move forward, but I think where Jonathan's excels is providing that defensive cover. So I don't know that I want to see Jonathan Dos Santos moving forward too much. I think where he's great is helping out and tracking back and being that glue guy in the center. I think that's where Dos Santos is best. We're
going to get to a whole bunch of things. Let's start with some questions, though. Really, it's a question for you. I'll let you start with this. But, how much does the injury to Joe Corona affect this game in particular?
I think when you saw what happened in Houston when he went out, the Galaxy seemed to struggle, but at the same time, they were able to take a lead with him off the field as well. So we've seen the triangle of Corona, Lletget, and Dos Santos be successful.
Right.
We've also seen moments where Favio, Corona, and GDS has been successful. So now we're going to see if Favio, Lletget, and Dos Santos work. So I think you have 4 players who you've seen in a lot of different permutations. So is it going to hurt the Galaxy? I think so. But at the same time, the drop to Favio, this is not like a harsh, going from Jonathan Dos Santos to Servando Carrasco drop off. It's, maybe it's a wash, and depending on how Favio gets up for the game, it may be a positive. He could provide a little spark of offense because, he has his down games, but when he's on and he's clicking and he's working with Pavone, that could be an upgrade in some situations.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing for me, too, is that when you look at what happens when Joe Corona comes in is it allows Sebastian Lletget to be more offensive, because if you look at it between, the slider, Lletget is a more offensive player than he is defensive player, and he's a better offensive player than he is defensive player. So
play to your strengths.
Yeah, you want to, and so having Lletget be that forward guy instead of Fabio Alvarez, I like better. That to me is more flow, and you like that triangle.
Yes.
It's like you said, that's proven there that they can do it. With Fabio Alvarez, I feel like he got so much better whenever Pavone came on, but the Galaxy weren't exactly getting the results out of that either.
Well, it goes back to the defense. When you have Fabio in there, you're going to give up a little bit more on defense because he's going to be more offensive minded. He's not going to be, that man in the center or tracking back and making tackles like Jonathan. So, that is the difference. When Fabio is in there, you're going to give up one or two. So you need him to contribute to 1, 2, 3, 4 goals on the Galaxy's end.
I mean, that sort of gets to, does it change the defensive mindset? And I'll start with the answer is the Galaxy don't have a defensive mindset. So
the defensive mindset, let in 4 to Houston, let in 4 to Vancouver. I mean, the mindset is there. You don't want to, I think the defensive mindset is you don't want to let in goals. And so, that sounds so silly. We're a podcast covering a professional sports team. Score more goals than the others. Don't let them score.
I was going to say there's an article that sort of went through some stuff, and I'm sure I'll pull some stuff from it from
Is that the one from The Athletic?
No, it was from American Soccer Analysis or whatever. American Soccer Analysis, which I love. They do some good stuff, and I'm going to pull some stats from that, I'm sure, whenever you look at it. But they were talking about, it's like, well, the Galaxy are just trying to outscore their opponents all the time. I'm like, that's what you try to do every time. Whether it's 1-0 or 7-6.
You always want to outscore.
You always want to outscore. That is.
I understand what they're trying to say is that, they want to win a barn burner, a 5-4 or 4-3. And I think the defense, it goes on the back four and it goes on Jonathan Dos Santos. And so everything outside of that, you want your, Antuna and on Pavone, if they can track back to help, that's great, but that's not the expectation. And so I don't think it changes the mindset. It is what it is.
No, and that sort of thing, like this doesn't hurt the mindset. It hurts the defense,
yeah,
but it doesn't hurt the mindset. The mindset stays the same. And everybody in training has been talking about how over the last 10 days they've been focusing on that defensive side of things. And I'm like, that's great. Good job, you guys. But, at the same time, it's like, okay, so if you're focusing that hard on the defensive side of things, which I'm all for, I think if this team went out there and said, okay, we're going to keep it 0-0, just keep it 0, we are going to defend. We're not an attacking team. We just sit back and we defend. I think that they would win a lot of games because they can score.
We saw that when this team counters and when you have Pavone and Antuna, after sitting back and making a few tackles, if an opposing team is pushing forward and having those players released on the counterattack, and then you have a Zlatan Ibrahimovic waiting up top to poach, that's a deadly combination and it's a recipe for success. The only concern that I would have is if the switch is now turned on, okay, now we're focusing on defense. Are they changing their tactics now? And is that a bad thing because they're now trying something new? But at the same time, look how they ended the season. Maybe they do need to change what was going on. So, but still, I'm going to argue out of both sides of my mouth.
That's fine. You can sit on the fence here.
That's what I do.
That's what we all do. Jonathan Dos Santos says, now he said they asked him on whether the team, needs to do something defensively and will that define the playoffs? And he says, yes, like you said, the whole season we were irregular defensively. I love the translations. Now we know even the smallest detail can leave us out of the playoffs. We have worked on it in the past 10 days, and we know we have a great team, but the small individual and group mistakes can leave us out. So we know the importance. This game has. Zlatan Ibrahimovic had a little bit better take on it. Probably we and all the three of us, you, me, and Zlatan, we're on the same page.
Of course.
Zlatan says we need to step it up. If we want to go further, we need to make fewer mistakes and don't concede as many goals as before. Or we score more than them and still concede many goals. So there you go.
This is expert analysis. This is why you come to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast, is analysis like this.
Well,
you score more goals and you let in fewer goals.
And
that's how it's done.
If Zlatan
we need
says
a GM position.
If Zlatan says it, it is the truth. No, it's absolutely one of those. It sounds, in this particular case, it's the right thing to say. Is that yes, that's how these games are going to be won.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny that if we sit there and try to explain, just a little bit of this LA Galaxy mindset going forward and how much they just throw caution to the wind and
that's exactly the opposite of what it sounds like. It sounds like they're not throwing caution to the wind, which I think is a positive thing. When you look at it, they're being cautious. When you make mistakes, every team that's in the playoffs at some point in the season has done well for themselves to put themselves in this position. So one mistake can cost you the game. You're not going to see a 5-0, a 6-0, a 7-2 like you saw against Sporting.
Yes, you are. You could.
You're going to see a close game. And so I think, it could come down to one defensive slip up, falling asleep and letting a forward run by you. And that can cost you the game if you lose 2-1, and that can be that, or it could be 1-0. So I think having them be cautious is a good thing, and picking your spots as opposed to just throwing it all 100 miles per hour for 90 minutes because you're not going to be able to sustain that.
So I get that, and I know what you're saying. I feel like both of these teams are going to come out cautious, right?
Yes, and I think the whole playoff slate,
right? Because
with a single elimination, you're not going to have teams coming out, and really pushing things to start. You'll maybe see some desperation late, but you're not going to see some aggressive nature. I think all across the board, which maybe there won't be exciting starts to these games, but you'll probably see some exciting finishes.
It's interesting because it's sort of, in my mind, it goes back to like Golden Goal. Everybody thought Golden Goal was great, right? Because
I enjoyed Golden Goal.
But what happened was everybody was afraid to make a mistake, so they just sort of was like, that's how it is in extra time anyway, to be honest. I mean, but that's what this feels like. This feels like Golden Goal, which is going to come out. So in my mind then, if you're Guillermo Barros-Schelotto, you have an emotional team, right? I mean, this team is their highs and lows. They get this bipolar. This team is bipolar.
See Zlatan Ibrahimovic,
right?
Celebrating and chest bumping or yelling at someone and pointing a finger and hand waving. So yeah, that's all. You don't need to look no further than the captain to see the bipolar nature of this team.
And so you get all that. So if you're GBS. What's your speech before these guys go out there? Because I think there's a way to do this that really sort of plays into the LA Galaxy. But what would you tell them? Are you going to go out there and start throwing chairs before the game? Are you getting everybody fired up, or is this a remain calm?
I think this is a remain calm.
Wow, get out!
I'm a calm guy. I think it's remain calm. Don't make mistakes. Keep it simple. Because I think if you get too fired up, you got to keep it simple. If you get too fired up, you're going to leave yourself open to a counter and open to make mistakes if you're trying to do too much. So I would keep it calm. You'd throw chairs.
Yeah.
You'd say, you're out of order this whole life. You got nothing. Show me what you got.
Yeah, no. I would go in. I think you go in there and you say you start poking guys in the chest, and you're like, get up for this game. I think that there is no amount of emotion that's too high for the LA Galaxy to start this game, because I think Minnesota is going to sit back and be like, let's just feel this game out. We're at home. We have the advantage. All this. So if I'm there, the Galaxy have one of the most potent offenses in Major League Soccer. They finished, fourth in goals and in goals scored, I think, total. They finished second in the league in assists, which, by the way, everybody forgets, and they say, oh, it's just Zlatan, except there were a whole bunch of assists. So, whatever.
And some of those were from Zlatan.
And some of those were from Zlatan.
He's second
Absolutely.
in the team, I believe.
So if you do that, why wouldn't you sit there and say, let's go? Let's go now. Get out there. From the moment this whistle goes, give me 25 minutes hard, and we will be winning this game 3-0. Minnesota won't know what hit them. Then you get caught on the counter and you lose. But
I was going to say, you said it for me. You didn't even let me interject. I said, if you push for those first 25 minutes and you make that, okay, we're going to push hard, and you get punched in the mouth, and then you're coming from behind, then Minnesota's really going to park the bus and make things difficult. So it's risky. I understand the appeal, and Schelotto seems like the type of guy who he may go that direction.
He's like,
he said, let's go for it.
Damn the torpedoes, full steam ahead.
Let's go full steam ahead and let's see what happens. Let's throw it at the wall and see if it sticks.
What movie is that from? That's from like a 1942.
Hunt from Red October?
No, it's not. No, good God, no. It's like from the Battle of Midway in like it came out in the 1950s.
Yeah,
or something
my movie.
Like that.
I'm not that old, Josh.
Yeah,
how old are you?
Yeah. Exactly. No, so I mean I think that's interesting. I think the start of this game is going to be super interesting. Just whenever you break it down, let's go. This though, everybody is excited, and I've seen it, and I know I've been the guy to throw cold water on this constantly, and I don't know how to feel about this, and I don't know how this affects this game. But you hinted at it. Romain Alessandrini, he's available for 30 minutes. Tell me which 30 minutes he plays, because in a game that could possibly go to extra time. We know if it's tied at the end of regulation, this game goes directly into extra time, 15-minute periods, and then it goes to shootouts. So if you're like, hey, I'm going to bring this guy on with 25 minutes left in the game,
could be 60 minutes.
Could be 60 something minutes. And is that what you want? Is he a penalty kick taker for you after not having played since what, April? All of this stuff seems to me like, okay, that's going to be a real risk if you're just going to decide that Romain Alessandrini should be there.
Yeah, and in my heart and in my mind, I imagine him coming on 75th minute in a tie game situation and scoring like an 88th minute banger, screamer, and winning the game and walking off in glory. So that's how I imagine it in my head. But obviously that's not the reality, and we don't know how it's really going to go down. So we say 30 minutes, but I don't think at the 60-minute mark you're going to be seeing Alessandrini. I think we're going to be looking at something, maybe 75th minute. If they're down a goal, they need some type of spark, something. If there's a tie game, maybe you bring him in.
Is he the first guy off the bench for you?
He's not the first guy off the bench. It all depends on the situation. If you're winning, I don't think you play Alessandrini at all.
But you have to get him minutes eventually, don't you?
But again,
why?
That's what training is for. Why? Bring in Perry Kitchen, kill the game, park the bus.
Kevin Kitchen.
Make it happen. I think if you're winning, you don't risk re-injuring him because you may need him later on. I think you bring him in if you need to go for a win in the last 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'll tell you one of the first guys. I said, who's your first player off the bench? One of the first guys who comes off the bench for me is Chris Pontius. And if Chris Pontius doesn't see time in this game...
I'd agree with that.
He needs to have more time in this game.
Every time that he's come in, he's been an impact player for this team.
Yes.
So I agree. I think there's definitely a spot for him.
And he's been underused.
And if you saw an interview today with Uriel Antuna that the LA Galaxy put out where he said if you're not walking off the field exhausted to where you can't even walk, then you're not doing it right. And I think if Antuna is the guy who is going, full torpedoes ahead, or whatever it is from the 1936 movie that you referenced. If he's the one who's doing it and doing that for 60 minutes, and then you bring in Pontius, who's a little more calm and maybe, a little different style, I think that could be successful. So I think Pontius seeing minutes would be very positive for the Galaxy.
Pontius needs to be in this game. I'm telling you,
I agree.
I don't care if the Galaxy are winning, you bring Pontius into this game. Well, he is one of the most experienced players on this team.
He brings a different element. He's not going to give you the same thing. I'm just imagining the way things have gone, he's going to be a sub for Antuna.
Yes.
And so he brings a different flavor. And I think against Minnesota, it's going to be what you need.
Pontius flavor.
Get it, party boy.
That's you can get it at your local Baskin Robbins. They still have Baskin Robbins. I
don't know.
31 flavors.
It feels awkward.
Why do I feel so odd?
Yeah, Pontius flavor. Just I don't know. I feel like there's a lawsuit, something. There's a harassment case that could be made. I'm going to stay away from that.
You're going to stay away from it. I understand. That's fine. Okay, that's how it works. But again, another case for this is Perry Kitchen. If he is available to you, he's a guy who comes in to shut this game down.
Yeah, he's a park the bus. We're winning 2-1 in the 65th minute. Let's bring it in. Let's kill it.
Do you mess with this defense at all? I know we were talking about sort of the defensive mindset, but do you do stuff? We saw Guillermo mess with this defense. We saw Guillermo put Pipo and Polenta next to each other. We saw them do that, and we saw the Galaxy look as most unhinged probably as they have. Even the Vancouver game wasn't as bad, I think, as the Houston game.
Well, Stairs 100% needs to start this game. If it's Pipo and Polenta in the middle, say your prayers, take your vitamins, because I don't know how it's going to work out. I think Stairs need to be there. I think the real question is going to be, does Pipo start next to him and we use Polenta out left, or does Polenta start in the middle and we move Dave Romney back out there? I think the argument could be made that you put Pipo in the middle because where Minnesota is going to attack is going to be on the wings, and you want Polenta out left to shut down these defenders. And so I really like Polenta out left because of the service that he brings. He's really, accurate with how he sends the ball in. So I'd like to see him out left, but at the same time, you're bringing in someone like Pipo Gonzalez, who really the track record, and you've gone over the stats, when he's starting at center back, good things don't seem to happen with this LA Galaxy team. So I'd feel more comfortable with Polenta and Stairs in the center and then Romney out left.
Looking at all the analysis that you're sort of seeing right now, you're seeing a lot of the LA Galaxy's hopes being pinned on Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I have argued, and I'm rightly arguing. I'll just say that I'm right. That always makes you
That's
right.
very Zlatan of
right?
you.
I have argued that Zlatan was built for the playoffs, and that if there's anybody who rises to the occasion of a guy who just will thrive in these conditions, away on the road, in a stadium that's gorgeous, on a field that should be much better. I mean, we'll sort of talk about.
And they talked about snowy conditions, and the snow I turned into a Viking. I mean, you could tell he's focused and amped and ready to go.
Yeah, he seems to be. But so is it all up to him then? I mean, is he going to carry this whole team? And has that been happening through the whole year? So should we be surprised?
Are you ready to hit end record?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Oh.
Yes. If this team succeeds, it's because of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. If they don't succeed, you can also argue that it's because of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. These are the big moments. This is now the lights are shining brightest. He scored 30 goals this season, set a record for the franchise, and we need more of that in the playoffs. So if the Galaxy are going to progress, it's going to be on the shoulders of the Lion of Los Angeles. So I think it does hinge on Zlatan. We need him to come up in these big moments. If other players step up, that's fantastic. But over the course of this season, we haven't won games because of other players. We've won because of Zlatan, and I think we just need more of that. That's how these playoffs are going to go.
And as I mentioned before, the LA Galaxy are second in assists. It's not like this isn't a team thing. Whenever Zlatan scores a goal, it's not because he dribbled down the middle of the field to beat everybody. Maybe a couple. But
he's not a Lionel Messi who's dribbling, from his own 18 and dribbling and going through players all the way. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The team helps him get there. So I don't want to say Zlatan's carrying on this team by doing everything. The team needs to play their part, but I'm saying Zlatan needs to have a big game if they're going to win.
We've talked about it, and I went and broke down the stats again since Christian Pavón joined the team. Now, we marked that because the Galaxy really have sort of taken a more team approach since these last 11 games. Basically, that's when Pavón came in, and he has the 11 games. So, in those last 11 games, Zlatan has scored 14 goals, which is what everybody's been talking about. What they didn't talk about is the LA Galaxy have also scored 14 goals. The rest of the team has also scored 14 goals. So, 28 goals in the last 11 games, and they didn't have a great record because their defense is horrible. That shouldn't be the thing. But Antuna has 4 goals. Pavón has 3 goals. Leggett has 2. Pontius had 1. Corona had 1. Shelvik had 1. Gonzalez had 1. Yeah, you look at this, but they are spreading this around. And I go to this article on American Soccer Analysis by Harrison Crone. Harrison did, I think, a good job of breaking down some things. I don't agree 100% with them on everything, but I agree on some of this stuff. And one of the things he talks about is the supporting cast. And yes, it has been all Zlatan, and Zlatan scores goals and everything else that you'd like to see. But it's about the supporting cast. And the guy who is the biggest numbers, and they talk about expected assists, right? Okay. Expected assists are the same as expected goals.
Is this a game? Do I get to guess? Is it someone we all know?
It is somebody you all know.
It's Christian Pavón.
It's not.
No.
Who
is it?
It's Uriel Antuna.
Okay, that makes sense.
The guy. To Zlatan, he is, or basically in games, he's provided on average 2.96 expected assists per game, which is a lot. The next guy is Christian Pavón at 1.88. Then you go Sebastian Leggett, 1.87. Jorgen Shelvik, 1.67. And Rolf Felcher at 1.61. So as much as people want to harass Felcher and they want to harass Jorgen Shelvik and say that they don't help because they don't help on defense. So that's the argument.
Well, here's one of the funny things. On the actual assists, those guys don't show up on the stat sheet.
Right.
But it's the
expected assists.
This is where the stats guys lose me a little bit.
It's about putting yourself in the position for goals. It doesn't mean the goal was scored.
Well, and this is why I'm a Uriel Antuna defender, because, yes, the direct cross finding Zlatan's head isn't necessarily what he's doing, but when he's running at players and setting up and a part of that build-up, I can see where that expected number would go up. Maybe not the last final piece that actually gives you the credit for the assist, but in the build-up, he's definitely played an integral part of that attack.
Yeah, he seems to be, and they also talked about Zlatan's dominance in the air. Again, it's a good one to sort of look at. I just wanted to sort of put out where some of these assists were coming forward, the expected assists, and what that means to the game. In my mind, what this is telling me is that you're looking at guys who are creating chances, right? And creating chances, you look at Uriel Antuna, and with his runs were very north and south to start the season. His runs now east and west across the box have caused nothing but problems. Yeah. And so he's sort of felt the confidence that has come with all the happenings in Mexico with the Mexican national team. Now he sees that confidence here. He feels okay to be able to run across Zlatan and get in the way of that play.
And just to address, someone who may be yelling at their listening device, saying that Antuna inability to finish, inability to cross. He doesn't need to. If he's running across, making the correct runs, drawing defenders away from Zlatan, drawing defenders away from Pavón, opening up space for Dos Santos, that's all you need him to do. You don't need him to put in a beautiful cross. You don't need him. You'd like for him to put away a sitter at Real Salt Lake, but you don't need him to if he's going to create space and the goals are going to come from different avenues.
But he does have 6 goals. I mean,
yeah, he does, and they're opportunistic. Their rebound goals, being in the right place at the right time, which goes back to positioning yourself with a good run. He makes the good run and knows where to be and puts himself in those correct positions. And I think he probably doesn't get enough credit for being a smart player for the LA Galaxy because he seems to find himself in the mix quite a bit.
All the time. Yeah. No, he's one of those guys who's in all the time. Well, we've sort of talked a bunch about, the players in there and sort of some of the guys we wanted to see. I also brought up something to Eric as we were texting each other, and we were talking about playoff experience and what that means to the LA Galaxy. On Thursday's show, we talked about the LA Galaxy players who had the most experience with LA Galaxy in the playoffs, right? And so that's not a huge list because basically you go back to...
It's been a few years, and these are a lot of new players.
Sebastian Lletget, Juninho are some of those guys, right? I mean...
Do you count... Yeah, no, okay.
Yeah, I know.
We count it.
You count it.
Juninho is our most experienced playoff player.
He is. I mean, he has a bunch of time, but I mean, that doesn't do you any good right now as we sit here and look at this. But...
Does he travel?
Yeah, why not?
I feel like
everybody travels.
He probably brings like some good food or some good bar. He's got to have some skill that keeps him around. Again, I love the guy, but
excuse me. So now we look at this, and so I went and found everybody's playoff experience, regardless of team and sort of where they're at. And I know there are people out there who are going to shout at some of these. I'm telling you, only guys who have played minutes count as playoff experience. They may have been there, they may have been on teams, but if they didn't play any minutes,
that's rude. As someone who sat on a bench,
yeah,
I take offense to that.
Do you want to bring back the where you didn't get the penalty kick in the CIF finals, or
again? I told you that in confidence.
Yeah, but I felt like there was still anger in your heart. Yeah, I thought maybe you just let it go.
Yeah, all these years later, it's still there.
We'll
save that for another show.
Okay, that's fine. It's just Hammer's pain. We could do a little couch here, and you could lay down and explain all your pain. Here we go. LA Galaxy MLS playoff experience. The players. So you got Perry Kitchen, you got Sebastian Lletget, Chris Pontius, Juninho, Dan Steres, Matt Lampson, and Servando Carrasco are the only players that I found, and I went through the whole roster that have MLS playoff experience. Now, let's not throw out the guys who have worldwide experience.
I was going to say, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is not an MLS playoff experience guy, so I don't know. He doesn't know the magic of the MLS Cup playoff.
He's clearly never played. This is going to be a lot for him, right? Going to Minnesota and their 22,000 fans, or what is it, 18,000?
Yeah. 18,000. Forget the World Cup playoff against Cristiano Ronaldo, where they went head-to-head. That means nothing.
Do you really want to bring up Portugal right now? You don't want to talk about
it. Well, in that case, to qualify for the 2014 World Cup.
Yes.
Portugal beat Sweden. One of the best games ever.
You felt good about it. Okay. Perry Kitchen, 9 games played, 9 games started, 810 minutes. Sebastian Lletget, 4 games played, 4 games started, 376 minutes. Chris Pontius, 7 games played, 7 games started, 482 minutes. Sebastian Lletget, Chris Pontius, and Juninho were the only 3 players that had goals in any of these. Chris Pontius is there with 1 goal. Juninho, I told you, 21 games played, 20 games started, 1,774 minutes with 1 goal.
Which will be, and we all remember that goal.
It was against Seattle.
But and all those minutes are going to do absolutely nothing for us.
No, it's not going to help you. Dan Steres, who we talk about, has 3 games played, 3 games started, 300 minutes. Matt Lampson, 1 game played, 1 game started, 90 minutes. And I'm pretty sure that was a pretty important one, if I remember correctly. I think it was with...
Wasn't it with Chicago?
No, yeah, it may have been with Chicago. I don't remember exactly which one it was. I lied. Maybe it wasn't that one. All right. Just throw that out. Servando Carrasco, 1 game played, 15 minutes. He was with Houston.
That's above his average.
It is.
His average minutes played this season.
It is, absolutely. So, I mean, if you look at the total playoff minutes that you have from the LA Galaxy, 3,847 minutes, 3 goals, 4 assists, 46 games played, 44 games started, and as you rightfully pointed out, about half of those go away whenever Juninho has 0 minutes.
And it also means nothing just because of the other players that we have who I just don't look at a Jonathan Dos Santos and say the playoff inexperience is going to affect him. A player like Pavone.
I agree.
So I appreciate
Pavone.
Yeah, I appreciate the hard work you've done.
Polenta, Fabi. There's guys who have played in big games all over the world. And that's not to say this. I'm just wanted to say again.
Just throw it out there.
It's one of those things you sort of look at and say, well, who are the guys who have been there? Because it is different. Now, I'll also say this, that it's not just so much about about that experience. It's about the fact that none of these players have ever played in this single elimination format. I think that, as you rightfully said before, that these guys haven't that being you haven't been in this and you don't know what to expect, that there could be a lot of tentative sort of people trying to feel out what these single elimination games are going to be like. By the way, chat room saying Bingham, that I forgot Bingham in the playoffs. He never played. I swear.
San Jose has to be relevant in order.
Yeah, I was going to say
at the time he was with them.
And I think they went. I forget which. Yeah, I think they went to the playoffs, but I think he got 0 minutes in it.
He fell out of favor with San Jose. Also,
yeah. So I don't. It wasn't. It didn't happen. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 99% sure because everybody said that, and I already went and looked for it. I'm like, well, actually, he never played. That's why he's not on the list. So he doesn't count in my rules that I made up. All right. But I just think this playoff format is just so. It's so new. It's so different. We talk about that. I think there's statistics out there that said, in previous MLS playoffs, the single elimination games that the away team had a better, chance than the home team
because they come out and they press to begin with, and so usually the home team was playing from behind the other way. And something that was funny today, speaking of golden goal, today in Galaxy history was the Cienfuegos golden goal back from 2001.
Yep.
And I went and looked back at that, and that was a 3-legged series where there was, away, home, and then away again. So, if you think a two-game, two-leg, I forgot how to speak here.
It's okay. You don't have to speak. We're good.
A two-leg playoff match is difficult. Imagine a 3-game. That was just wild. Golden goal plus a 3-game swing. So I thought that was kind of fun to look back at that. So again, I'll push back a little bit that no one knows how this is going to work because it's single elimination. But we've all seen World Cups. We've seen Gold Cups. Once you get to the knockout rounds, they're all single elimination. And so it shouldn't be that foreign of a concept for these players.
It shouldn't be, and again, that was whenever we talked about this originally before, we were like, oh yeah, let's see, you're like, wait a minute, there's plenty of guys with playoff experience.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get it, I get, yeah, but still,
yeah, but don't you?
I did
use my own magic against
me. I'm just getting smarter as we go, I think. By the way, just wanted to again. There's lots of David Bingham talk in the chat room, like they don't trust me. And I just looked it up again, so I know I could be right because I love to be right.
That is true. I can.
0 games played, 0 games started in 2017. Whenever they went to the playoffs, 0 games played, 0 games started in 2012 when they went to the playoffs.
I think at that time he probably wasn't the number one keeper in 2012.
They missed him. It bell curved him. He didn't see it. He didn't know they were going to button hook him. That's what it was. So
button hook.
That's an old shout out. That is old school. If anybody knows that one, that is an old, very old shout out. But anyway, so David Bingham is not one of those players. I think it's going to be a big game for him.
Yeah.
If you're talking about one guy who probably needs to perform way above his pay grade, it's David Bingham.
Yeah, and given how the season ended, I think he's definitely going to get up for this game. Yeah, I'm excited to see, to watch him step up and see what he could do.
There's one more person who has a lot of MLS playoff experience. He's not a player, though. He's a coach. And I wanted to sort of...
I don't remember Valde Cantos
making a run. He was in there. He was smoking cigarettes while he was doing it.
Was he with the Miami Fusion?
Yeah,
I feel like that.
I'm sure he was. Everybody was, I'm sure. That'll be another guy I didn't realize played for the Galaxy a long time ago. And there we go. So anyway, Guillermo Barros-Schelotto has played 7 games in the playoffs, 2 goals, 7 assists, 623 minutes. When you look at it, he was also, I think, named MLS Cup MVP in 2008
at the
Home Depot Center.
I was going to say StubHub. But
I was at that game.
Yeah, you let us know every time.
I know. I was there. I was sitting in the stands. I remember that game.
But that's kind of a cheat. The coach has playoff experience,
right?
But if you want someone with playoff experience, I guess you'd want the man in charge.
That's right. You know what? There people are also saying you're an idiot.
Me?
No, me.
Okay.
No, me. Don't trust me.
I was going to say, what did I do?
There's one guy, Dominic Kinnear.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, you think maybe he has some playoff experience?
Maybe just a little bit.
He probably he played in some playoffs. He played in some playoffs in MLS. I'm sure he did.
I was going to say, don't open yourself up.
He's coached in.
We're going to get in the comments tomorrow.
Yep. You idiot.
Dom Kinnear played. He was a stalwart for the San Jose Earthquakes in 2001.
Yeah, it's coming. Josh doesn't know his history again, and he opens his mouth, and that's what happens. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Anyway, so that's your playoff experience, sort of going into it. Do you want to do the thing?
Is it time?
Why not? It's time. We're still going to talk. We've been talking about the game the whole time.
I was going to say, there's not a recap. This is all pre-cap.
This is all pre-cap. There's nothing. There was no show on Monday because everybody's like, why was there no show on Monday? You ruined my life. That I normally get whenever
people need the panda. They need the panda in
Kevin
their
was
lives.
very angry whenever I was like, hey, there's no show on Monday. He's like, why not? I'm like, because there's not that much to talk about. My son's visiting. So I go, let's take some family time. He's like, I think we should do the show. I'm like, no, I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's going to happen.
The Lost episode.
There are a couple of those actually out there. They've been deleted though, so you'll never find them. I don't think they're anyway. All right. So if you're ready, LA Galaxy facing off against Minnesota United coming up in the first round of the playoffs in 2019. Here is Eric the Portuguese Hammer with his dramatic intro.
It's getting so hard for me to sit back here in studio looking at Minnesota United out there with a higher seed and a home playoff match. This year, we spent more money to buy out Gio and re-sign Zlatan than they spent on their entire roster. Minnesota, you have one very important lesson to learn this Sunday. To be the man, you have got to beat the man. Woo! We've been here since '96, and you may be feeling really good about your shiny new stadium, but there's a reason that the LA Galaxy are synonymous with MLS greatness. Space Mountain may be the oldest ride in the park, but it still has the longest line. Woo! We've got more championships than they have seasons in the league, and we're going to style and profile into the rainy conditions and hand them that loss. And if they don't like it, they'll learn to love it. Because the LA Galaxy is that Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, charter jet flying son of a gun, and we're having a hard time holding all these MLS cups down. Woo!
Oh my.
Sorry.
My. No, are you okay? You black out again?
Yeah, I blacked out again.
Just went into it?
The spirit of Ric Flair.
Ric Flair. Woo!
Again, you bumped up my mic.
Yeah.
And then I went too hard.
No, you didn't.
Did it go okay? Turned out okay?
Yeah. I think. Woo! Yeah, you just got it. Yeah, just a little bit.
I didn't want to woo too hard.
Right, yeah.
But it worked.
No, it was nice. I liked it. It was good. So, yeah, the chat room's all fired up now. They're ready to go. They're ready to run through a wall.
I think they should play that.
They should.
Play that before the game
That's
starts.
what they should do? They should just roll it in front of Zlatan?
Mr. Calm, Cool, and Collected, and here I am channeling Ric Flair and wooing into a microphone. Yeah, there I go for being calm.
Yeah, you're hanging in there. All right, good. That was good. LA Galaxy face off against. I'm still.
Did I throw you off there?
Yeah, no, I got a little.
I worked with the levels a little bit.
A little winded. I had a lot of finger dancing over here to do, so it was a busy thing for me to do. But no, I mean the LA Galaxy now face off against Minnesota United. Game kicks off at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday, October 20th, 2019. It is at Allianz Field on Sunday. ESPN Deportes is where you can find this game. Listen, this is one of those, and we'll continue to talk about it as we've been doing the whole time. It's the first must-win game of the season. I mean, it's all that. Everybody always wants to say must-win game. This is a must-win. It's not. This is the first one.
This is a literal must-win game.
This is exactly how it goes. By the way, did you like the hype video that the Galaxy put out?
I did.
Yeah,
that one really. I mean, I joked. I posted on Twitter that with the hair raising on my arms, and I did that as a joke. But at the same time, when I watched it for the first time, I did get real chicken skin and goosebumps there.
Chicken skin?
They did an excellent job with that video. It got me hyped up and ready to go. I'll be watching it again on Sunday to get ready.
Yeah? Is that just on repeat?
It's just on repeat. At the beginning of the season, there was a Guillermo Barros Schelotto's speech video that they put out, and that one got me fired up to start the year, and this video has me fired up to end the year. So, shout out to Mers, for the words there. That it was excellent. Very well put together.
I really want to reach out to him and see if he'll come on the podcast because I feel like he would.
He's game. He seems like he's ready to talk about it and ready to go to battle for this club, which is it's awesome to see someone with notoriety.
But I'm also like the whitest guy anybody knows, and I feel like it's just not.
It's just the wrong audience.
Be like, have you heard my? Yeah, I do. Yeah, we all know my taste in music is horrible.
I was gonna say, Mers is definitely not in the background when I walk into COG Studios.
It's horrible. We all know this. I'm more on the Becky G side of things.
Okay, there you go. Which
she
also had some comments today, which were pretty fun. She wants the MLS Cup before a Grammy.
Oh wow!
Look at that,
Becky G.
Becky G.
I keep telling my wife that I want her on the podcast. My wife is like, that's never going to happen. And I'm like, why not? That seems like I feel like I can get that. She's like, you're not that popular. You can't do it.
That would definitely increase our numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, some great stuff for Mers and the LA Galaxy. I really thought it was good. So I'm also the guy. Do you remember before? I think it was MLS Cup. Maybe it was 2012. Maybe it was 2014. I don't remember. They did the Robbie Keane poem. Did you ever see that? It was an Irish. Famous Irish poem.
How did I miss this?
You don't. I swear I should have had it.
And I remember I was at the 2012 MLS Cup.
I think.
How did I miss this event?
The poem is it's from the shores of. I don't remember. It is. I have it. I saved it somewhere.
All
just
right. We'll repost it.
We'll put it out there. But anyway, that one also was sort of like. Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm,
Game on.
Mm-hmm. You feel like Robbie Keane, and it's you're like, okay, yeah, I feel it, and this just feels like Zlatan. It feels like that time. LA Galaxy 16-15-3 finished the season with 51 points. Minnesota United just 2 points better, 15-11 and 8. You look at the home records. This is where Minnesota shined, 10-1-6. I'll tell you right now, they haven't lost since June 2nd. Whenever they lost to.
I have a trivia question for you.
Oh yes,
they have lost since June 2nd.
Oh, but it was. I mean, at home.
At home.
Oh,
they lost in a friendly
to Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Yes, I
in July. I purposely had that stat in there because I knew you were going to hit us with they haven't lost since June, but it's technically incorrect.
Okay. So there we go. So they haven't lost at home in a MLS regular season game.
There it is.
It's all these other games that aren't regular season games they've lost. So
in a game that's not MLS regular season,
they're out.
They've never won.
This is their first trip to the playoffs, we should point out as well. 10-1-6 at home, 36 points at home. The Galaxy 11-5-1, 34 points at home. The Galaxy's away records 5-10-2 to 5-10-2. So there's not a lot to get from that. I'll tell you this. All-time, LA Galaxy 3-2-0, undefeated. We talked about it, 9 points from those games. Excuse me, that was the last 5 games. All-time, LA Galaxy 4-0-2, 14 points against Minnesota United. 0-4-2 for Minnesota United. Only picked up 2 points against the Galaxy all-time in history. This either goes with my roulette wheel thing, which is going to keep hitting red and keep hitting red, or it's going to switch and it's going to be black, and that's not going to be good for the Galaxy. The table sort of finished, obviously, 4th for Minnesota United, 5th for the LA Galaxy, 7th in the Supporters' Shield, 8th. So they just are back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, though. Everybody's talking about how Minnesota is definitely the favorite in this game and how everything is going here. Look at the last 9 games. Last 9 games for the LA Galaxy, they won 3 of their last 9 games. Now, they're coming in on a 2-game losing streak. We know that. But Minnesota won 3 games in their last 9 as well.
And theirs was more up and down. There's a loss, a win, a draw, a win, so theirs is a little more up and down. The Galaxy had 3 wins in a row and then a couple losses. And so it's going back to your roulette. It's going to turn the other direction, it seems like, as opposed to being up and down constantly. So we'll see.
Yeah, so I just don't feel like I feel like everybody's really trying to pump this Minnesota team and you've seen, I don't know if you've seen their social media and what they're trying to do, but it's a whole
got better
shush.
Things to do than to follow.
It's a whole shush. They're because they're shushing all the haters that said that they would never make the playoffs this year, and Adrian Heath, and I think he's done a great job.
Yeah, I mean, they had the second place seed. They could have had it. I mean, they were right there. There were times in the season where they could have been clear, second place winners, and they kind of skidded at the end, similar to how the Galaxy did. So, credit to them for looking good. Whenever you saw them in the standings, you thought, well, eventually Minnesota's going to drop. And they didn't. So, absolutely give them credit, but at the same time, they don't scare us. They don't scare me.
This is head coach Adrian Heath. By the way, again, listen, MLS on their website is doing what MLS does, which is, hype up these things that probably aren't really things, but they're going to make them things.
It's narrative,
which is
you gotta
fine.
Pump the narrative.
Yeah, that's fine. It's building. Yeah. It's about writing the story. It's like, here we go. How are we doing? The whole thing. So, Adrian Heath says, I think the biggest advantage anyone could have would be playing at home. Any team playing at home this weekend would say that. We're at home. I fully expect us to perform, and if we do, I think we can win. First of all, I'd like you to think, what does Adrian Heath supposed to say? You know what? We're really scared of the LA Galaxy.
The Wonderwall ain't S,
Yeah.
We don't got it.
And they're talking about going up against, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And really, this is kind of fun because you have Ike Opara, who just won Defender of the Year award, second year in a row.
I take that as such a good sign.
I know, you're all like, this is a good sign. This is a good sign. This is weird, fan, voodoo that you're trying to put on. It's like, oh, Defender of the Year against Zlatan's going to be pumped.
I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious.
Yeah. It's not like being whelmed. I know you can be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And underwhelmed. Can you ever be whelmed? think you can in Europe.
Good times.
That was good. There you go.
Tangent.
There we go. So anyway, so that's Adrian Heath coming in there again. Ethan Finley says, I think you embrace the challenge. The Stars can't single-handedly take teams to win championships. Hey, Ethan, yes, they can. You need the role players. You need the whole group. You need the team. That's no different whether you're LA or Minnesota. Again, it's playing off this whole like theory that Zlatan is just Zlatan Ibrahimovic,
and that's all they got. Yeah, it seems like they're very much, even though they're the higher seed, even though they have the home game, they're playing it like we're the team who has something to prove. We're the little guys, and we're going after the big guys. And if anything, that just proves that the LA Galaxy, regardless of their where they finish, is a team that every team in the league gets up for and wants to beat the LA Galaxy. They can come in 8th, they can come in 7th. It doesn't matter. They want to face the LA Galaxy, and they're always going to look at it as the Galaxy are the bigger team when you have someone like Zlatan and just the history that the franchise brings.
I'll say this. There's Eichel Power, defender of the year. I really like him.
He's a great defender. Yeah,
he's fun.
Can't get mad at that.
And he doesn't bite on any of this, by the way. He doesn't take the bait. He's like, yeah, I just won defender of the year. Relax. Everybody chill. He says there's nothing to fear, and you really just go in there to compete. Give it your all and see where we end up in 90 minutes. I think that better be the mindset of everyone on our team. Again, it goes to we're going to take this. We're going to sit back. We're going to sort of look at this. And by the way, the guys scoring goals for Minnesota in their last couple of games have been defenders, not their offensive side.
I was going to say, when you think of Minnesota, you think of Darwin Quintero, but at the same time, you pointed out only 10 goals this season. And so he's still a threat. He leads the team in shots on goal. And so I think he is definitely someone you're going to need to worry about. But at the same time, he's not someone who is necessarily dominant like Zlatan has been, or even like Pavone in the last few games that he's played.
Yeah, like you said, 10 goals. He has 5 assists as well. He is their best player, but that doesn't mean that he's not Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yes.
He could score 4 goals in this game. I'm not saying he couldn't.
Quintero?
Yeah.
Score 4 goals?
Absolutely.
By himself?
You're going up against Galaxy defense.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. There you go. I listen. You're going to hear my prediction on this, okay? I feel like you're all going to be happy about it. Maybe you won't. Maybe I'll change my mind before that happens.
I was going to say, or you give your prediction, everyone gets upset. Why'd you do that?
Why'd you do that, Josh? You always pick against us. You always pick against the Galaxy. So, that's what you're looking at. Again, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Christian Pavone. You look at the star power that's on the LA Galaxy, and you can't sit there. This is my favorite. Whenever I was first sort of following the LA Galaxy, it was the 2011 MLS Cup. I went down and I maybe it was like the 2012 MLS Cup. It was one of the Houston games. Certainly.
Well, it was 11 or 12.
Yep. Or
I'll tell you that much.
Or maybe it was 14 and it was New England. But I just remember one of the guys who used to sit in the section was sort of he was saying there, and he was saying, well, how good is this other team we're playing? I'm like, listen, they're pretty good. They made it all the way to MLS Cup. There's a reason they made it to MLS Cup, the whole deal. And he's like, but we got like Robbie Keane and David Beck. You can't tell me that there's Jermaine Jones. I remember.
Oh, then it was
2014.
Yeah.
You can't tell me Jermaine Jones is going to come out here and be better than these other guys, than Robbie Keane and Beckham, and all these guys. It's like and the whole thing, and that's what you're getting at here. And it's not an overconfidence. It's okay. The LA Galaxy on the road. Sebastian Lletget actually said something that got me a little interested in just, hey, where are you trying to go with this? But not only just where are you trying to go with this, but what are you really trying to say there? He says regarding the defense, this is a little long and I'll read through it, but he goes, we're always confident we're going to score his goals, but we can't afford any mistakes. We've been working on it. I think it's more of a mentality. We've got this ability on this team, even defensively. We've got some really good guys, but together we've just got to pull this thing off. And he says, good or bad, whenever you look at this, he says maybe it's a bad thing or maybe it's a good thing, but we always need a little adversity, and that kind of raises our game. We need a little bit of an obstacle. We see a challenge and we always kind of meet it. When things aren't on the line and things aren't as much at stake, we take our foot off the pedal. I'm not entirely sure why, but that's where we've been at fault this season. So
yeah, I agree 100%. There are several times this season where I said this is the team that needs to get punched in the mouth to wake up. When they're down a goal or when they're not the favored team, that's when this team plays best. So I can totally see where Lletget is coming from, where he says this team needs adversity. They need something to climb uphill, and that's what drives this team. Speaking of the defense, one thing that gives me confidence is we know David Bingham led the league in saves. Do you know who was second in saves?
I do.
And that is Mr.
Vito Manone.
Vito Manone, which again, can you sound more Italian?
Yeah,
Vito Manone. But anyway,
my name's what is it? Was it? There was a guy who was like, it was like, oh, my name's Pizza Lasagna.
Yeah.
It's like that's a fake name. It's like, no, Vito Manone.
But he's second, and all that tells me is that he's faced a large amount of shots as well.
Yep.
And so if the Galaxy defense you're worried about because they give up a lot of shots and give up a lot of chances, Minnesota's number 2. They're right there. They give up just as, I'm not going to say just as many because not literally, but they're second. And so they give up chances as well. They've let in quite a few goals. So the goals are going to be there to be had by the Galaxy. So, we may see that barn burner, that 4-3, 5-4 magical game.
David Bingham, 141 saves, 195 shots saved. Vito Manone, 129 saves, 175 shots faced.
See a difference of 20 shots.
That's like one game for the Galaxy.
2 games,
It's fine.
Again, on goal. Maybe 3 games.
yeah. So anyway, so that's sort of where I sit with that. I'll say this. Now let's go to predicted sort of lineups. Where do we sit with this? Where do we feel? And I sort of threw you my predicted lineups, what I thought it would be, and I think it's pretty standard. I don't think there's going to be a whole bunch of things here, but what I do want to see is something that you said. Bring Steres back into this game. He starts.
I think he needs to start.
I would put Dave Romney out left. I like it. I like Romney, Polenta, Steres, and Felcher back there. That's fine. Go with that and try that. I don't think Araujo in this game is the right answer. He may come off the bench.
Yeah, I don't think this is the game where you start Araujo. As high as you may feel on him, I think you go with who, and that's why I want to start Steres. The consistency, someone who's been there, he's been that staple. Rolf, say what you will about Rolf, he's been on the right hand side for the majority of the season, so you're going to have to call on him again. Out left, again, this might be a controversial. It's going to be a controversial opinion. Dave Romney, I feel like he's done well, but to keep Polenta and Steres in the middle, I'd almost rather have Shelvik out left than bring in Pipo in the center. So whether it's Romney, whether it's Shelvik, I think you need someone else on the left as long as you keep Polenta and Steres in the middle. And I know I'm going to get grilled because Shelvik is not. There's not a Shelvik fan club out there, but I think what he can bring moving forward could be successful. Obviously, defensively, he leaves a lot to be desired, but at the same time, Shelvik or Romney, I wouldn't be heartbroken or as upset as I think some people would be if we saw Shelvik out left.
If you're looking at the graphic, I have 2 number 4s on there because I have Steres as number 4 and I have Romney as number 4.
Number 5. Come on.
I know that.
You should know that.
Whenever you fill it in, it gives you auto numbers in there, and then I filled it in. I forgot to change the number. It's mine. It's my bad. The alternate there that I think you sort of talked about was a little bit with Shelvik, but also with Polenta and Gonzalez in the center, which could be the repeat of the last lineup, and that's the way. And
yeah, I don't feel comfortable with those 2 in the center. I need to see Steres back there.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good way for the Galaxy to go either. The Galaxy, again, facing off in this single elimination tournament, we know already that if the LA Galaxy advance, they play LAFC on Thursday, October 24th. If there is a game, when there is a game on October 24th, I'll help you out. And when there is a game on October 24th, that means that one of our shows will be pushed to Friday. So that's why it was sort of one of those things to look at. So
regardless of who advances. Yeah.
There's gonna, I'll probably have a show on Thursday night if the Galaxy. Just because what am I gonna do? Watch that game? I'm done. That's it. It's baby time for me. I have to start shutting down.
We're thinking too far ahead. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. You gotta play the hype video.
Yeah, play it now. Hurry, quick. So anyway, so that's where it sits, and the bracket, if you're watching on the video feed, is up there for you to peruse. There's 4 games on Saturday, and there's 2 games on Sunday. Sunday will be the much more relaxed day in terms of watching, but Saturday should be a lot of fun. Playoff soccer, yeah, much like playoff baseball. There's just something about it. There's something in the air.
When the chips are down, that's when it's most fun to watch.
It is, and
there's a reason why the knockout games in the World Cup are more exciting. Group games.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah. And so again, we expect that to happen. Now, if you're looking at the odds for this game, do you want to know what 538 says?
Here we go. It's game time.
So I already we brought this graphic up the last time, and I'll leave it up here again. But as it stands right now, and by the way, there's no draw on this because you can't tie. Yeah. That's why everybody's like, "Where's the draws, man?"
It is what it is.
No, that is.
Although it would be interesting. I did throw it out there that with single elimination, there's a higher likelihood of a game going into extra time and penalties than maybe a 2-legged series. So you may see an extra time, a draw in regulation, but obviously there's going to be a winner in the end. So what do the odds say?
38% for the LA Galaxy to win, 62% for the Loons, which is not really a surprise. Again,
I was going to say, well, the one that I took away from it, if you look at the whole slate of matches,
yes,
the LA Galaxy have the highest percentage of winning for an away team. But when you look at the seeding, it's a 5 versus a 4. So of course
it should.
They should have the highest away percentage.
There's nothing crazy on this that everybody's like, oh, well, that doesn't make sense.
I got excited at first, but then when you think about it, at a 4-5, of course the 5 is going to have the highest likelihood. 7 or 8.
Yeah.
That's math for you.
That's how math works.
That's how numbers work. The other thing on 538, they have the breakdown of chance to win MLS Cup or chance to make the conference semifinals, and the Galaxy have the 11th best chance out of 14 teams. And so that's a little bit scary. So
that's good. I remember 2014. Was it 2014? No, 2012.
Yeah.
2012. When going into the playoffs in 2012. Now, I of course will tell you, and I'm trying to smack anybody who says this team is not like the 2012 team. Stop saying it. Well, we've already looked at it. We analyzed that. They're not the same.
Until they are.
Until they take it all. Then you know what they're going to be? The 2019 team.
Yeah.
That's what they are. They're going to be like they were mediocre through the second half, or actually for like the second 2/3 of the season.
Yeah.
And you know what? They got hot in the playoffs, and that was it.
And sometimes that's enough.
In 2012, they were hot for the second half of the season entirely. They were just really poor in the first half of the season. So that's sort of how it is. But in 2012, you got in there and you said, the only way the LA Galaxy can host MLS Cup is if the Houston Dynamo advance on the other side. And the Houston Dynamo advances on the other side. So it was like
Eastern Conference.
From the Eastern,
Houston.
Yep.
The Easternest team.
That's right. And so, you look at that, and we've talked about it before. The LA Galaxy have a better chance of hosting MLS Cup than they do hosting, a Western Conference final game, should the LA Galaxy get past. The Galaxy would host the Western Conference finals if either Portland or FC Dallas advance from their games. So if you're rooting for teams, Portland and FC Dallas are the teams to root for.
And when you look at how up and down any team could win at any given day, I mean, Portland, when they were on, we saw what they did against the LA Galaxy, so there's no reason to believe that Portland couldn't win at Real Salt Lake. And then FC Dallas is the only one. I don't expect them to get past
Seattle. Yep, in Seattle, it just doesn't seem likely.
Yeah.
But that's it is. If the Galaxy made it, by the way, to MLS Cup, if Toronto, if DC, if New York, or New England advance from the East, the LA Galaxy would host MLS Cup.
Yeah, that'd be a good time. MLS.
Bruce is coming back. I know everybody said it already, but Bruce
in the 14th spot.
In the 14th, coming all the way from deep downtown Bruce Arena.
The one MLS had something on their Instagram story today where if you screenshot, it had a randomizer, and I got LA Galaxy versus DC United, a throwback to 1996, the original final. That'd be kind of fun. Wayne Rooney versus Zlatan.
That puts a lot of pressure on the Galaxy because you can't let DC United win an MLS Cup
because they'd catch them.
Because they'd catch them with MLS
Cups.
There's
a lot of narrative if DC United.
That would be fun. Can that one happen?
I think it'd be a lot of fun. I'd love that, and I got that on the first try. I wasn't even trying. I played with the numbers to get the Galaxy on the other ones, but. That was how it worked out. So it's destiny. It's fate.
It's fate.
LA Galaxy versus DC United in the final. Mark it down.
You heard it here first.
Do you want to talk about the weather?
Yeah, let's talk about the weather.
We looked up the weather just because there were rumors of snow, and then I looked at what it's going to be. I said, it's going to be clear that day. It's actually going to be okay. Turns out I was wrong. There's a 90% chance of rain on Sunday night in St. Paul, Minnesota, which is where Allianz Field is. So there's a football game, the Tommy Johnny. What is it, right?
The Tommy Johnny. It's the best rivalry. What is it?
I looked at Division III's football's Alabama-Auburn rivalry. So it's the greatest Minnesota private school battle that you'll see in Division III.
It's St. John's versus
St. Thomas.
St. Thomas, yes.
And they're both Minnesota private colleges. So good times.
The plus on this seems like it's going to be dry on Saturday. So, listen, I expect this field to be torn up. I do.
Anytime there's football, 24 hours before, it's going to be torn up. But if it rains and they're playing football on it, that's
really bad. But what happens if it's torn up and it starts to rain for
afterward?
The game? Oh,
I think it's going to be sloppy. That might be fun.
Oh man, this is Zlatan weather. He's going to be primed. As he says, whenever it's warm, the lion's out. When it's cold, it's the Viking. Lots of people with Scandinavian history in Minnesota. So yeah, I think he's playing that.
They don't call them the Minnesota Vikings for nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's where they got that from? Are you sure they didn't move from like Cleveland or something like that?
Well, we know. The LA Lakers, we know where they came
from Minnesota.
We already stole one team from you.
Right.
Yeah, maybe we'll steal your hearts this Sunday.
Stole St. Louis. Well, not really. That one went back and forth. So whatever.
Yeah, but still.
All right, LA Galaxy facing off against Minnesota United. By the way, a little shout out to the podcast. This is going to seem weird. I've told you guys before, and everybody celebrated our 700th show. Yep. This is show number 7.
I was here for that.
You were here for that.
The Panda was not.
Yeah. rub it in. He's going to be so angry. Panda, by the way, will be in Minnesota covering the game. He is going. So this is show 705 as we're doing it. That's total shows. I actually keep track of the individual shows as well. So Corner of the Galaxy and then Corner of the Galaxy from the box. This is the 400th episode of Corner of the Galaxy. So
woo! All right. Do I need the streamers?
I was going to say, get the confetti back out? No, please.
We made it to 400.
You can still find some if you look around, I'm sure.
Still in the vents.
It's still in the vents. Every time the air conditioning kicks on, I get hit with more confetti. So anyway, so 400 there. LA Galaxy facing off against Minnesota United. This is it. This is a must-win game. The Galaxy advance. They play LAFC on Thursday, so quick, short turnaround time. When the Galaxy get past Minnesota, there you go.
There you go.
When the Galaxy get past Minnesota, there will be a Monday show, and then there will probably be a Friday show. That's how this would all work. There's going to be a Monday show regardless of what happens. We'll make sure that you get that, and then we'll see what we do from there on out. So anyway, that's where you're going right now. By the way, the chat room is talking about how on the eastern side of that bracket, there's a team that switched a baseball field for a baseball field. So New York City
Field.
not playing at Yankee Stadium because the Yankees still playing in the playoffs.
Yeah,
they're playing at Citi Field where the Mets play.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
No.
Anytime you share a home with the Mets,
A
lot of bad juju there.
If you're a neutral, you have to be praying that if you're if you want MLS to succeed and be, what it is, you have to be praying that New York City gets eliminated as quickly as possible.
Early exit in the semifinals.
Everybody's rooting for that.
Yeah, you don't want to see it.
No, you can't. You cannot have that.
Especially a final. A final would be embarrassing
my God.
at Citi Field.
On a postage stamp, I just no. And Don Garber needs to fix that situation as fast as he can. And there's no fixing it. You have to build a stadium in New York City.
Yeah, this is the red flag. This is the I guess the nightmare scenario would be if they actually made it to a final. They've dodged that bullet thus far, but yeah, it would just be a mess. I was promised a prediction.
You want to?
I'd like to collect.
You would like to collect. All right. The LA Galaxy will absolutely play a game this Sunday.
I don't like that.
You don't like that?
No. Get out of here with that.
What do you have? You go first.
Wait, you want me to go
it.
first? I have a 3-2 Galaxy win.
Ooh.
And again, I'm going to go back to my heart, voting with my heart here. Alessandrini, 88th minute.
Oh,
game
wow.
winner.
Come on.
Yeah, I just imagine some magic happening at the end of the game.
This is like a Kirk Gibson wet dream you're trying to have right now. Oh, but I know he can't run, but let's let him hit a home run,
On a broken leg, he's still going to score. Diving header. We know that Galaxy are going to give up goals. So I think they're going to give up 1 or 2, but I also think they have it in them to score 2 or 3. So I'm calling 3-2, calling my shot with a win.
I think if the Galaxy are going to win this game, it's going to be similar to how they played against Real Salt Lake, which is score and keep the ball away from them and be able to score and then focus on defense. That's the thing. I like the Galaxy getting out to like a 2-0 score. I think Minnesota is going to come into this game really cautious. I don't think cautious is anything that the Galaxy should even attempt to try. Caution to the wind. They're sort of the gunslingers, right? They're going out there guns blazing, and if they get killed, they get killed, and that's just how it is.
That's how they've lived their season.
That's it. So
a quarter mile at a time.
Listen, I think that the Galaxy's way of winning games is unsustainable in the playoffs. All right, I don't think could they go
4
on a 4
times in
game?
a row. Yeah.
Yes, I think they could.
Yeah.
But is that a likely scenario? I think that their brand of defense, and we'll put that in quotation marks, their brand of defense gets killed in the playoffs. If we know anything from the playoffs and what we've seen from the LA Galaxy over the years, is that the defense can win these games. And for the LA Galaxy, it feels like the defense is going to lose these games. And by the way, if you're sitting there screaming at your TV on Sunday because the Galaxy give up 4 goals in a playoff, you're just...
We saw this happen.
You've seen it.
Twice. Literally twice right before the end.
So if the Galaxy win this game... If the Galaxy win this game, it's a 2-1 win for me. I have a feeling this game gets tied. I have a feeling it goes to extra time. I have a feeling that in extra time that Zlatan will have one chance to win this game.
And you thought I was the dreamer here?
No, I'm just telling you.
You're going there?
I'm saying in extra time, Zlatan's going to have one chance to win this game. If he makes it, the Galaxy will win the game. And if he misses it, the Galaxy will lose this game
hedging.
In penalty kicks.
You're hedging.
So I think, quite honestly, the Galaxy have, I'll give you my honest take is, I think the Galaxy have a 60% chance of winning this game because I feel like they have way more talent than Minnesota.
Yeah.
I feel like they have more big-name players that have been in these pressure situations. I feel like listening to Sebastian Lletget that I 100% agree that the Galaxy needs some adversity. They need to climb a wall. They need to do something. Need to get kicked in the mouth in order to do something.
And maybe that was just the fact that it's an away game. Maybe that's the adversity right
It
there.
is, and it starts that way. So I feel like that's the case. So I feel like a 60% chance of them winning, in my mind, makes sense. But I can also see Minnesota. If Minnesota wants to run away with this game, it's there for them. Because if the Galaxy get behind and they start pressing forward, we all know what happens.
So a Galaxy win.
Galaxy win
there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
2-1. 2-1 in extra time.
Extra time.
Zlatan with the winner.
Zlatan extra time winner.
Yeah.
You heard it here.
Across from Rolf Felcher.
Oh,
Jorgen Skjelvik comes in extra time and with the cross.
Jorgen Skjelvik 40-yard blast.
That's right.
I think that's my prediction.
Hey, you know what? Playoffs, weird things happen in the
exactly.
playoffs. All right, so you're going to get a goal from. I guarantee you, in this game, you will get a goal either from Minnesota or from the LA Galaxy that comes from somebody who does not score goals. You're going to get like a Dan Steres.
I was going to say he
does score goals.
Our second leading scorer for a while.
Right. He does score goals, but that's the type of playoff mentality. There's going to be some scrappy goal.
Or a set piece, or if the weather's rainy conditions, a ball bounces, lands in front of Antuna, he hits it with, his earring, and then something goes in.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's craziness. All right, that's it. LA Galaxy play against Minnesota United coming up on Sunday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time kickoff. ESPN and ESPN Deportes. This is it for the Galaxy. A must-win game. It actually is one. Tell your friends, tell your families, hey, it's the first must-win game of the season. And this is it. The Galaxy, by the way, their first playoff game since 2016. We've told you that.
Reset the counter.
Yeah, I can't yet because they haven't played it yet. But whenever they kick off, it will have been 1,078 days.
Wow.
1,078 days since that, and it would be 1,778 days since they last won an MLS Cup.
That's crazy.
It's a long time. I mean, both of these started before Minnesota United was a team.
I know my poor son has never seen an MLS Cup victory.
Oh, wow.
From the LA Galaxy. His 4-year-old self, tough life for that guy.
Tough life. When's the last time Chicago Fire won?
Yeah, 98.
98. Yeah, was it? It was 98. It was a long time ago. So
expansion team. There you go.
Dave Sarakin.
No, Bob. We're not going to say.
Was it?
He who should not be named.
Bob Bradley.
Yeah.
It's okay. All right, there you go.
Let's get out of here.
Let's do it. I'm done. So anyway, good luck to everybody traveling to Minnesota. Dress a little warm. Probably dress for the wet weather in case that comes. But be safe, travel safe, and then come back home.
And then also, if you want to enjoy the game, there is a watch party at Dignity Health Sports Park in the Legends Plaza there. So I know they did it for the last El Tráfico. It looked like a lot of fun. So if you're not heading to Minnesota, there's another option for you at the park if you want to check out that game.
All right, Eric, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at GIS Hammer. I had the quest for 1K, so thank you everyone who followed. I am now above 1,000 followers, so much appreciated. You could also follow me on Instagram at Galaxy Profile. That's Galaxy PROFOUL. And if you want to hear some Portuguese soccer news, I was on the Seleção podcast this week talking about the Portuguese national team. You can find them at Seleçãopod, SELECAOPOD. Throw a new plug in there.
That was confusing. People are trying to figure out where to write that down. They don't know how to spell it. They're not Portuguese.
Yeah,
they don't know.
I retweeted it.
Okay, good.
Come find it.
There you go. That's fine. If you're looking for me on Twitter, it's at JGuesman, JGUESMAN, and of course at Galaxy Podcast. Head on over to the website, cornerofthegalaxy.com. We will restock the Hammer stickers. They're back in there. We have some of our great stickers as well that Oscar Rosales did over at Galaxy Art Fire. He's amazing. We love it. So check those out as well, and lots of good stuff coming your way. LA Galaxy playing on Sunday. This is it. Playoff edition. Horns going off. Excitement. Everybody screaming. LA Galaxy play against Minnesota United, 5:30 Pacific time on Sunday. All right, that'll do it for Eric, the Portuguese Hammer. I'm Josh Guesman. You've been listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Have a great one, everybody.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast, and be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. And for all of your independent LA Galaxy news, discussion, and entertainment, including this podcast, head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. Fans, thanks for listening. We ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.